Hi everyone, I'm Tammy Morales, Seattle City Council member from District 2. We're here at the station to talk with neighbors about our homelessness proposal for this afternoon. And I just want to let you know we're on Beacon Hill, where we have a plane going by every 90 seconds, so it might be a little loud. We're here with Luis Rodriguez, who is the owner of the Station Coffee Shop here, which is in District 2. Thank you very much for hosting us. I just want to share with them who's here so that we can say hello to one another. We have Danny and Tony, who are District 2 residents here. Brian Eggers with the Seattle Human Rights Commission as well. Dee is a Unico resident in District 2 as well. And Michael Lindbergh, who is the Executive Director of the Hepatitis Education Project. Well, thank you all for being here. We're here because we want to talk about how the city has been responding to homelessness and what you think the city should be doing better so that we can make sure that we're serving our neighbors best. So, Luis, as the host of our afternoon here, maybe you can start with what you think about the city's response to homelessness.
Tommy, thank you for being here today, and thank you for all what you're doing for our this area, District 2. I truly believe that what our city is doing with our homeless is kind of disgusting. We have about over 10,000 homelessness around the King County area, and it's probably going to grow even bigger with the pandemic that is happening. We live in a city with so much money, and we should not be dealing with this. They should not be dealing with this. It's sad that the cold is coming, the cold weather is coming, and there's no bathrooms for them. There's no shelters for them. I think that the city of Seattle could do better. I think that they need a lot of help. They're part of our community, and it's pretty sad to know that a lot of these folks are really suffering out there. It sucks for me as a business owner because I would love to have them, use the bathroom, but with the pandemic, it's very dangerous for everyone. So I wish that there would be places for them to use the bathroom and stuff, and I feel awful for these folks. A lot of these folks are kids, moms, women, and this notion of believing in this notion of the narrative of homelessness is a lot of these folks are drug addicts is not true, and I feel that we need to change the narrative.
Thank you. Dee, do you want to talk a little bit about what you'd like to see the city do differently?
Sure. My partner and I have lived in South Seattle in an RV since 2015. We got unexpectedly priced out of our apartment in Pioneer Square back then. Over the years, we've met so many different people from so many different groups that have all had the same goal of helping the homeless. And help comes in so many different forms. Sometimes it's a pair of socks, sometimes it's a sack lunch, sometimes it's just a smile. Sometimes it's the offer of harm reduction kits for drug users, or the retrieval of used syringes to prevent litter buildup in the area. Sometimes, especially in my case, it's a friendly offer of having my wastewater tanks pumped so I don't have to drive my RV to a dump site, and that's just wonderful. But unfortunately, we've also endured more contact with law enforcement than anyone would ever want to. It all boils down to trust. And in a world where the appearance of police means you're about to be evicted from what little space you've carved out for yourself in this hideously overpriced city, we can't expect SPD to develop quality relationships with the people they're interacting with. We can't expect positive outcomes of people accepting shelter when the people who are offering it can't be trusted. We get a higher rate of positive outcomes out of the small organizations because they're trusted and they don't come with police attached. If the city wants to see positive outcomes from the programs they're funding, please choose to support the groups that provide dignity and services that come without judgment to a population that's already traumatized and already struggling to survive the day-to-day.
That's great. Thank you so much. I really like what you said about the need for trust, the need for folks who are experiencing homelessness to have their own need for trust and dignity respected. And that comes with having relationships with organizations that you see regularly who aren't threatening.
Correct.
Thank you. Michael, how about you as a director of an organization, one of these organizations, what is your perspective on what the city can be doing better?
Looking at you and other members of the city council and seeing that the direction of the city's approach to homelessness is really moving away from having law enforcement as involved as they've been. I think that's a huge step in the right direction, and without which we're not going to get where we need to be. I think that working with the organizations that have the capacity to build up those relationships that he was talking about over time, that establish that trust, again, without which the services that organizations like H.O.P.E offer are not going to be accepted, because there isn't that understanding that a person has his or her best interest in mind. There is a shift in the approach to homelessness here, which is very encouraging, and I appreciate your leadership in really recognizing that the problem needs to be addressed with dignity and humanity, and not the law enforcement and public safety focus that has really been a huge part of the issue.
I wanna ask Danny and Tony, as residents, encampment residents in the city, you experience probably a little bit of both, I'm assuming. Do you want to talk about what you think you'd like to see from the city?
Definitely that would help. And the outreach workers that we already know and trust, having more, because they're stretched so thin, having more of them available to meet with us and help us with our needs and whatnot. Bridging that gap, it really does enable us to kind of form a community. So we all discuss things like today where we get together and talk, and we are able to kind of keep things in a nicer light,
Yeah.
And the drugs and the other problems kind of go to the back burner, and more everyday living things come to light. It makes it a lot better for all of us. So.
And you have a community.
We do, and the more that we have outreach out there, we kind of all come together and we're able to deal with those things.
So, Brian, you're a Seattle Human Rights Commissioner.
Yes.
The Human Rights Commission has been very vocal recently. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the positions you're taking on homelessness?
Sure, absolutely. First of all, I think the Seattle Human Rights Commission remains hopeful that we can develop innovative solutions to serve those individuals that are living unsheltered, and an approach that really elevates the rights and dignity that they deserve. For us, the Seattle Human Rights Commission remains troubled that the question seems to be about when a sweep should take place. Rather, is the sweep absolutely necessary? In other words, can we work with the community that is living in the area where the sweep is going to take place to make it safer and to make it a place where people can actually be treated with respect and have access to the services that they need that will ultimately help them be able to improve their circumstances and to treat them as valuable members of the community.
So thank you all for your perspectives and for the work that you do and for the advocacy that you're doing on behalf of people who are experiencing homelessness. Part of the reason we wanted to hear directly from you today is because we are introducing today, this afternoon, in our budget conversation, the idea of a real shift away from the current navigation team structure. We'll be talking about a new homelessness outreach and provider ecosystem. We're calling it the H.O.P.E team. And it really is a shift, getting police out of this process altogether. And the idea would be to create a 5-person team that is at HSD, but they would not do any outreach. They would really be responsible for coordinating other city departments, like the Purple Bag program functions, getting sanitation, more, hygiene services, working with SPU. So it really would be much more of a coordination role and would allow the providers, the actual experts in this work, to take the lead and to have much more agency in how the city responds. So that's why, my plan is that in 2021 we will be moving away from a system that was not centering our homeless neighbors and really leading with hope and leading with a new structure to serve our community better.